Hi, good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Hello, and thank you for tuning into this Ivy webinar today. My name is Tara, and I work at Ivy. And Ivy is a business management software and community for designers. And Ivy allows you to centralize your billing and purchasing and administrative tasks all in one place. So you can do things like generate customized documents, invoice and collect online payments from clients, manage project calendars and FF&E schedules, all that fun stuff. And together with various industry experts, Ivy hosts educational webinars for industry professionals to learn about the different ways you can manage your business more efficiently and more profitably. So for this webinar today, I'm very excited to welcome Kelli Lamb to the stage. Hi, Kelli.
Hi.
Kelli is the managing editor at Rue and has a passion for sharing great design. So navigating the world of press has been a very, very hot topic these days. So Kelli is here today to share her insider editor tips on choosing the right publications to reach out to, photography best practices, how to craft the perfect pitch, setting the right expectations, and building those quality relationships that you need to get good coverage. So just a little bit of housekeeping for the next 45 minutes. Kelli will run through her presentation, and then we'll leave the 15 minutes at the end to address your questions. So to submit a question, you can click the little Ask a Question button below our faces here, and we'll do our best to cover all of the questions at the end of her presentation. And for those of you who are designers who are not yet using Ivy, I highly encourage you to stick around after Kelli's presentation, so my colleague Risa can jump on and we can walk you through the Ivy software and show you what Ivy is all about. So without further ado, I'm happy to welcome Kelli. Kelli, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, and thank you so much to Ivy for hosting this. We're really excited, and I guess I'll get started.
Great.
Okay, can you see the slides?
Perfect.
Awesome. So thank you, Tara, for such a great introduction. Again, my name is Kelli, and if you're not familiar, Rue is, we were founded in 2010 as an online, fully digital shelter publication featuring, gorgeous homes and hospitality, entertaining features. We've since added Rue Daily, which is where we're producing the bulk of our content. And you can find everything at ruemag.com. I've also included our Instagram handle and mine as well, so that you can connect after this webinar. About me, I've been with Rue since 2012 and connected. I tried to do the math, but it gave me a headache. I have no idea. I've connected with countless designers, featured tons of homes, and it's what I love doing most. So I'm really excited to go through this today. And I was joking with a colleague that this is kind of my dream webinar to host, just because there's so much information that I wish I could share with designers, just about connecting with editors and kind of the best way to go about it. It will make my life easier. It's when you get that perfect pitch email, it's like so great. And so I'm really excited to share what I think you need to know before reaching out to your favorite publications. So when it comes to choosing an outlet, it is really important to find the audience that is right for you and right for your business. So not all press is good press. It really needs to be mutually beneficial, which means both parties, the publication and the designer, will have the same goal, which is engagement. So you want to get your work in front of an audience that it will really resonate with. Your perfect publication isn't the one with the most Instagram followers or the one that you've always thought that you wanted to get your work published on. You really need to dig deep and see which publication has the most potential clients so that it's worth your time and effort to secure that press feature. So how do you do that? Essentially, you just need to find the outlet that generally has the same aesthetic as you. So really do your research and get a feel for the style of work that publication features and what features are successful. So is it traditional, mid-century, industrial, coastal, a focus on small spaces? kind of really dig in and research and see what's performing best with their audience and what is most similar to your style. It does seem somewhat obvious, but we do get a lot of really beautiful, well-designed submissions to Rue that just aren't necessarily a match with our audience. And so finding what the readers respond to is key before reaching out to editors. And it's important for me to mention that a no isn't a bad thing or an insult to your work. So if you send a submission to an editor and they say no, it's not because they don't like what you've presented or like the content or the home or your work. It's just that they know their audience and they know what will perform best. So trust them, and it's not something to be offended or discouraged by. There are so many shelter magazines and media outlets, and you'll find the right home for you that will really benefit your business. So yeah. Now, once you have found the outlet, you've done your research, keep in mind that there are a lot of different types of press coverage that each publication will offer. So do a really thorough browse of if it's a print magazine or online website, see how they're covering designers. So the obvious would be the home tours. That would be a full project that you've completed with all of the imagery there available, ready to go. But don't feel hung up. If you're looking at your own timeline and thinking, I don't have a full home tour to pitch to a publication, but I really would love to get a press hit. Look through your portfolio. Is there just an individual room tour that you can do? We have a column on Rue that is Rooms We Love, and it's actually one of our most popular features, and it's oftentimes a kitchen before and after or a bedroom, and it doesn't even have to be some huge design project. It can be something as simple as updating a guest room for the holiday season. So don't get hung up on, I don't have a full home tour to pitch. There's more ways. Other ideas include hospitality. If you've worked with a local hotel or restaurant or bar or even a boutique store or spa, we love covering that. We love showing off designers' work that way. And if you're feeling like I don't have any new projects to pitch, that's okay too. We're always looking, editors are constantly looking for tips, trend reports, or gift guides. So you can send an email to an editor or your favorite publication and just say, I don't have a full project that I'm ready to pitch, but I'd love to offer any insights if you're working on any stories where a quote or my expertise would be valuable. And let the editor know. I can quickly get that back to you. And that's key for us, knowing that we're sourcing for a story, whether it's designer's favorite gray paint, and knowing that you're available and you'll quickly get your selection back to us is key, and we'll keep you top of mind for that feature. Same with like the holidays are here. We've often done gift guides where we'll talk to designers and have them offer their selections based on certain topics. And I think that that's a good option and opportunity as well. And one of my personal favorite types of press coverage as an editor is just doing interviews. We have a column on Rue Daily called 5 Minutes With, and it's the same questionnaire that ideally would only take you 5 minutes to answer and 5 minutes for the reader to read. And it's kind of an introduction to the designer. We'll feature their headshot as well as a handful of images from their portfolio. And I think that's a really great way to share your story. Readers often find it inspirational, as I know many designers didn't necessarily start out in that field. And so don't feel bashful if you're told this home tour isn't quite the right fit. Don't feel bashful to say, is there anything else in my portfolio that maybe we could do a larger interview or a quick profile? We love getting ideas as well. And then I think the final thing, and it's more social media takeovers. I think you need to identify when you're seeking press coverage. What is your goal for being featured? If your main goal is to get more Instagram followers or social media followers, that's okay, but you can be transparent with that and let a publication or an editor know, I'm not necessarily searching for a full home tour or a big article, but I do have some behind the scenes of a before and after I'd love to share. I think it would make a really good Instagram story takeover. You can pitch that. You don't need to feel locked to having something published on a website or in the magazine if your goal is social media. And we as editors really appreciate that transparency as well, because it's a lot of work for us to do a larger article or a feature. And so if all you want is social media, just be open with that. And we are oftentimes open to work with you there as well. So I'd love to talk about best practices when it comes to photography. Photography should be one of the most important aspects of your business, and you should set aside a budget for it with each project that you complete. There's a lot of questions of, should I hire my own photographer, or should I see if the media outlet wants to send their own photographer? And I can't speak, I'm speaking to kind of the online world. I can't speak to necessarily the print editorial world, but my personal belief and in my experience, I think you should always hire your own photographer, and it gives you creative control. During the shoot is key to have that control. I've heard and spoken to many designers who a publication has sent out a photographer as well as a stylist, and the images aren't really how they pictured. The styling choices are off. It doesn't really feel like an accurate representation of their work. And so when you're the one who is in control of running the photo shoot, you're the one who most intimately knows the design. So you're able to say, frame the shots how you picture them, capture those charming details that might otherwise be overlooked, and it ultimately be a lot happier with the finished product. And then you'll also have creative control with the finished images. If you're not totally stoked on how a handful of photos turned out, you can exclude them from pitching to publications. You're able to share them on your website, use all of them for social media. And it's really key, depending on the publication's exclusivity requirements, which I will get more into. You can pitch the project again. So for example, at Rue, we love to do 60 days exclusivity, which means we're the first one to share the home tour or the project. And we just request that you don't share it with other media outlets for 60 days. We're flexible depending on the situation, but it's just so that if every media outlet is sharing the same home tour, then they all look the same. So we like to put some time in between it. And if you're the one who's hired the photographer and the photos are yours, after that timeline is up, you are more than welcome to share again and get additional press from the same project. So I can't suggest it enough. You should really hire your own photographer, but then that comes down to picking the right photographer. So this is kind of tricky because you want to find the photographer whose style matches your vision. So though there are so many skilled photographers, really dig into their portfolio, look at their website, comb through their Instagram, and make sure that the style of their photography matches kind of what you have in mind for the project. So if the project is really dark and moody and you want to convey kind of that cozy feeling, don't go to a photographer whose entire portfolio is very bright and white and airy. Kind of match their style will be pretty consistent regardless of the designer that they're working with. So match the photographer, their style to how you see and envision the photos turning out. And finding photographers can be tough. I wouldn't necessarily suggest just finding the person who's tagged on Instagram most. Go to your friends in the industry and get recommendations from them, see who they like working with. And if that's not an option, you can look to your favorite publications and see who they work with most. We get a lot of emails as editors from designers saying, I'm based in this city, I have a project I'd really like to photograph. Do you have any recommendations for anyone in my area, or who do you like working with most? And we have a long list. Photographers are always credited, and so we kind of just keep this running list in our minds, and actually for me on a spreadsheet, so we can suggest someone that we would be confident what you would be happy with. And with photography, even if a publication wants to photograph it separately, I still would recommend having it photographed just for yourself and for your records and for your website and portfolio. So once you have the photos, can you share images on your website or social media channels before pitching to publications? It's very complicated. The short answer is probably not, but the long answer is it's complicated. So do post progress pictures. We, as editors, understand that sharing your work is a huge part of, your social media strategy and connecting with your fans and clients. But if having it published is your end goal with this project, try to keep the bulk of the reveal off of social media. So a gutted kitchen, you could do sneak peeks on Instagram stories, a behind the scenes candid with a photographer, or the examples that I have here are just kind of really cropped in details or product previews. So the next slide will show a photo of this room, and you'll see that these photos don't show the whole picture. It doesn't tell the whole story. And editors are reasonable. We don't want you to keep things off your social media or feel like you're lacking content because you're not sharing it, but we also want to be the one to tell your story. So, and I'm happy to answer any questions. It's kind of a cloudy area there. So just the main thing is don't post professional photos until you get the green light. The reason for this, publications want to be the first to share your story and to reveal the space. So once you connect with an editor, just get the details of their requirements. Let them know, be very transparent if you have already posted quite a bit to Instagram, or if other media outlets have picked up those same photos for their social media accounts. Share if it's on your website. And that said, I'm always totally willing to have a few photos on the website because I understand that's part of your business. But when it comes to kind of telling the story of the space, just hold off and let the publication tell the story first. And I would also say, if you're hoping for like a major, in regards to like the sneak peeks and the behind the scenes, if you're hoping for like a print major cover exclusive, I wouldn't share anything, but online coverage it's likely fine to share tidbits here and there. So when it comes to contacting editors and pitching your work, here are a few things that I'm so excited to share because it's not always totally common sense, or every editor is different, but from my perspective and our team, this is what we really value when editors reach out to us. So only pitch one publication at a time. It's respectful to the editor if they know that you're not sending out a mass email and just changing the introduction or the name. And it will also prevent you from finding yourself in kind of a pickle. Let's say you send it to 3 publications, 2 write back and say, we'd love to do a story on this. You'll need to disclose, and they may even say, has it been published anywhere else? You'll need to disclose to them that there is other interest, and you want to avoid, it's kind of an awkward situation, and it can be frustrating to the editor if we see your work and we're really excited about it and we want our audience to see it, only to find out another editor replied 10 minutes before we did. So just try to do one email out at a time. And I say follow the publication's rules first. Don't just send your submission to the first email you find or their Instagram DMs. Do your research. Go to their website. There is going to be a page with, I guess, instructions. That it sounds a little formal, but it will have the specific email or a form for submissions. So for example, at RU, we have a general inquiries account that's just our info account. And we also have a submissions account, which is submit@rumag.com. If you send your submission to submit, it will be reviewed in the order it's received. An editor will have eyes on it. We will get a look at it. We will see your pitch. If it's sent to the general inquiries, it's going to be in a big pile of like spam newsletters and product pitches, and it's just less likely to be seen and given the time that it deserves. Whereas if you're sending it to if you're following kind of their protocol, the way that they like to receive these submissions, they will see it. And if you can't find that contact, or you can't find the email that you're looking for, you can look to social media, but do be gracious. There's some etiquette to follow. I think it's always welcome to leave a comment. Say you're looking at the RU Magazine Instagram account and you've sent a submission and you haven't heard back. So you can leave a comment, or you can send them a DM or reply to a story and say, I sent it to this account, but I haven't heard anything. Did I send it to the right account, or is there a specific editor that I can contact? I think that's appropriate. It's great. And whoever is running their social media will be very responsive to that. I will say, when it comes to editors' personal accounts, I do encourage you reaching out and connecting with them if their account is set to public. That means that they do want to connect with friends and industry colleagues and designers, and if it's set to public, it's totally appropriate to follow and interact with them there. If an editor's account is set to private, I would just leave it be and probably not try and connect with them there. But if you are following and interacting with them with an editor specifically on social media, avoid a not great example would be, I feel like every time I've ever been on vacation, I'll receive a comment from someone, it'll be like a photo of a margarita on the beach in Mexico, and someone will comment, "That looks so great. When you get back, I've sent an email that I can't wait for you to see." And that's very assertive, but it's not very gracious, and it happens more often than you would think. And so just try and be polite and respectful. Social media is such a wonderful tool because it does offer you this direct line of contact to editors and people that you want to work with, but don't overstep that bound. It feels really stressful when you're sharing personal things and being reminded that work is waiting for you. So just be gracious and kind of think of what the proper social media etiquette would be. So when you are sending an email, and I have a few samples to follow as well, but the basic, every email should include an introduction, say hello, and right off the bat include a link to your website or social media account, your Instagram account. We want to quickly know who you are, know if we've seen your work before, and connect with you. Be polite and professional. Don't be too informal. You don't need to have a huge, long introduction mentioning previous stories that they've worked on or something you've seen on the social media account. You can just get to the point. So what's the story? Include a concise summary of the project and include links to any previous press coverage. So if you are submitting a project that has been shared on another outlet, disclose that right out of the gate. We'll really appreciate that, and it makes it easier for us to know if we're able to publish it and in what way. Then easily accessible imagery. This is so key. A link to the full image folder, like with Dropbox, is great. If you don't use Dropbox, I would really recommend it. It's easy to use. A lot of people are already signed up for accounts, especially people in the editorial world. And you can just click it and you can see everything you need to see. WeTransfer is okay as well. I think there's Box. Some of the other ones can be a little bit tricky, or buggy. They don't always work, or WeTransfer, which is a service that will like send it as a zip file for you to download. They sometimes are sent to spam, so we don't always see those come in. So just if you can include a link right in the body of the email, that's perfect. If you're not wanting to send the full image folder, like right at the start, you can include a PDF or a few smaller image files. The problem with attaching files and photos to emails is sometimes the file size can be quite large. So just be mindful that it might bounce back or they might not receive it. And that's why I think if you're able to link to the images, that's kind of foolproof. But with a PDF, if you want to have preview shots, that would just be, you don't want to share the full folder. Preview shots would just be a couple of the hero images, what you think are like the strongest images from the project, and then include a few noteworthy detail shots. These aren't as, they're not selling the story or the project as much, but by including those detail shots, it communicates to the editor that there are more photos and this could be a robust story depending on the layout that you and the graphic design team would want to use for the website or magazine. So yeah, there are a few options there, but I would say a link, at least for me and my team, a link is like heaven. And then with emails, I would say follow up after a couple of days and only follow up twice. If you don't hear back, move to the next publication. I think every editor has a different email strategy. We are getting too many emails, a stressful amount of emails. And so if you don't hear back within an hour, don't worry. It's likely that we're just not very skilled. But I'm speaking for myself. I'm not very skilled at my inbox. And so it's hard to reply quite quickly when you're balancing all these other tasks. Emails can kind of go to the wayside for the bulk of the day. So if you don't hear anything, give them 2-3 days and then send a follow-up. If by the third email you've sent, unfortunately, the editor might not be getting back to you. Typically, we'll reply quite quickly if we realize that we've dropped the ball and we see your follow-up come through. If you don't hear back, you might not, and I would suggest just moving on to the next publication. And that's a bummer, but it's okay, and that still follows the pitching to one publication at a time guideline. So here is what I think is just the perfect email. It's a good email. It's addressed to the right account, submit@rumag.com, and the subject line clearly states that it's a home tour. You could do room tour, hotel tour, whatever it is, just clearly state the topic and then more details. So a SoCal bungalow by, and then your design firm name or your name. This is really helpful. We will know to click on it. We know it won't be some mass product pitch that 500 other editors have gotten. We know it's very clearly right out of the gate, and we're more likely to actually click on that email and open it. So then, hello, Team Rue. My name is, and here I would link your name. I would include the link to your website or your Instagram account, whatever you'd like to share. And I'm a designer based in Los Angeles. I recently completed and photographed a charming bungalow in Venice Beach, and I think it'd be a great fit for your audience. You're the first publication I'm reaching out to, and I'd love to offer Rue the exclusive. That's already got everything I need to know. It's been photographed. Here's where it is. No one else has seen these photos. I want you to publish it first. Then below, photographer, here, include their name. We've likely worked with them before or are familiar with their work. And I would also include a link to their website at this time too. So they sent back some great shots, which you can see here. A link to the Dropbox folder or Google Drive or wherever the images are saved. Then below that, I would include just some quick facts about the project. You don't need to have your full design statement included in the email, we're likely doing an initial scan just to gauge interest. So you can send more details later, but at the start, just say a few things that might make this property or this project different or stand out. So this client is a young professional and this is her first home on her own. So that's already given us an angle of kind of the story that we would tell. We completely upgraded the kitchen, taking it from a dark and cramped galley kitchen to a more functional space for entertaining. So there is another kind of storytelling option for us. We know that it's a young woman living on her own and she loves to host. And so there's kind of that idea, that seed planted. And then it say, I can send before pictures if you'd like, if you have them. Not all publications are doing the before and after or anything like that. But if you have access to them, it's worth mentioning. I can show you what it looked like before. I mean, we get a great response from doing the Instagram slideshow where it's like swipe to see what it looked like before. And so we like, while we may not include those before pictures in the feature itself, we like having access to them in case it will be useful for our audience. For furniture, she had a few great foundation pieces. So a large focus was on updating fixtures and accessories. This is just another example, sharing a little bit of the scope of work, what you completed in this tour. I'm especially fond of the hanging chair or just anything that you're really proud of or that you love. You can say such a great Instagram moment, just kind of making sure that as the editor clicks through the photos, through the gallery, that they are aware of something that you really want to make sure is on their radar, that you're really proud of, that you think would be a nice addition to the story. And then many of the pieces we brought in are still available online. So if you'd like to add a shop the story element to the feature, I can provide those links. So many publications are monetizing home tours and interior design content. And so knowing that there is an opportunity to include links for readers to quickly purchase those items from the site is really beneficial and kind of another tick on the, yes, we want to run this story. It's not required, it's just an added bonus. But if you are able to provide a source list, it's very helpful. And then at that time, you can just wrap it up. I can quickly send over more information at your request. Thank you again for your time. And then your email signature, which should also include a link to your website and any social media accounts there. So if I received this email, it would be the dream. I do receive emails very similar to this, and I just love them. This is a perfect way to get your work in front of an editor and not just have them glance and go, oh, that picture's fine, but really be more likely to dig in and thoughtfully review your project. So for a bad email, the subject is just pitch, which isn't great. It's not very captivating. Technically, I think everything in my inbox might be a pitch. So add more information there. And then, hi, I have a project that I haven't shared yet and would love to get on your website. Let me know if you're interested and I can send pics. The name and sent from my iPhone. That to me says, this is just an afterthought. I maybe was up late scrolling on Instagram and came across your contact email and I want my work on your Instagram. Do you want it? I don't know if I do because there's not pictures, there's no preview, there's no context. And if you're laughing and thinking like, well, duh, I would never send that email. A lot of people do. So really never send this. It just kind of clogs up editors' inboxes, and we don't love that. And the one before we're so excited about, and this makes us go, no thanks. So avoid everything in this example. And then also avoid embarrassing faux pas. So before you hit send, ask yourself, what is the publication's name? And do a quick breeze through the full email and make sure that the publication's name is correct every time it's mentioned. So we've gotten email, I mean, it's a mistake, it's a typo, and it happens, but the start of the email will say, have been such a big fan of Rue since day one. I love you guys, and I would love if my work could be featured on your website. But then the kind of the farewell, the closing statement on the email says, again, I'm such a fan of, and then one of our competitors' names, and would love to see my work there. That lets us know this is a copy-paste email. This has been mass sent and quickly sent, and that the publication wasn't updated throughout. So double, triple check. You don't want to offend an editor. And it's not that offensive, but it kind of makes us go, next. So avoid that. Also, double check if you're speaking directly to an editor, double check what their name is and how it's spelled. It's just a little thing, but it goes a long way. For example, my name is Kelly with an I, and the 30% of the emails I get, it's likely victim of autocorrect, but it's Kelly with a Y or Kelly, Kellie. And so just before you hit send, do more than spell check. Check those little details. Also, find out if the editor does in fact still work there. We get a lot of emails addressed to folks that have since moved on from Rue, and we love them and they're very talented. They just don't work there, so they won't see your email. So do your research, and really know the ins and outs of the publication that you are reaching out to. For example, do they offer print issues, or are they 100% digital? Rue is 100% digital, and I have gotten many emails where people told me that they bought a copy of Rue at the airport and just loved it. So that's not possible. So avoid any sort of thing like that. That would be a faux pas that indicates that you don't actually know that much, or you don't actually care if it's their publication or any publication. So run through those little details. Also, how often do they publish? Don't submit something saying it would be an excellent addition to their holiday issue if the holiday issue has just come out 2 days prior. So double, triple check everything. It seems obvious, but it's all very helpful. So when it comes to achieving press coverage, set your expectations. Ask yourself, what are your specific goals for you and for your business for press coverage? If you get a press feature, what do you hope to get out of it? And then ask those questions to the editor that you're working with. It's not offensive. You don't have to worry about stepping on our toes or anything. We want to make sure, as I mentioned at the start, that it's mutually beneficial for designer and publication. So ask, how many images will the feature include? If it's a full home tour and you're really proud and excited to share it, and find out that the publication is only going to run images of the kitchen and dining area, you'll be disappointed when it comes out. So make sure that you have a clear understanding of what they'll be publishing. Also ask them, will you be sharing this on your Instagram and tagging me? Will you be sharing in your newsletter? We appreciate knowing that that's a priority to you. And again, if your only goal is social media coverage, be transparent in that. We really appreciate that. And I really value the opportunity to share designers' work and tell their stories. And so I want to make sure that the designers I work with are happy with the stories I'm creating for them. So kind of an open dialogue so that your expectations are set and you're not surprised the day that the story comes out. So as far as you've achieved press coverage, you've kind of had your dream feature, but where do you go from here? And it's all about building long-term relationships with the editors that you work with. Show enthusiasm in the process. It's okay. You don't have to act like it's no big deal, or like if you've gotten tons of press coverage. If you're excited, share that. We love to know. I mean, I can have the worst work day and then get an email from a designer who is just saying, thank you so much. It was such a big moment for my career to be published. And that reminds me why I even do this job. It's my favorite part of being an editor. And so share that enthusiasm and post on social media. it's not uncool to be excited about an accomplishment. You can express how much it means to you, or if you're excited. Also, it's kind of shown up throughout the entire presentation. Be transparent and be genuine. You don't need to go through a full home tour, a full Q&A, if you're just really hoping that 1 or 2 of the images will be posted on their Instagram account. Just be transparent in your goals. Be transparent in if you're sharing it with other media outlets, or you're pitching it elsewhere, or there's interest elsewhere. We are so grateful for that. And if you're honest and professional through the process, we will want to work with you again and again and again. Also be genuine. I think that especially with the social media world and the access to kind of knowing things about editors and designers' personal lives without ever having met them, you don't need to include in your introduction email a full summary of something that you saw or know about them. If your goal is strictly just a professional, I want my work published, can you help me with that? You don't need to do kind of a fake, phony, hi, how are you? Blah, 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 blah. It's okay. And I've developed many friendships with designers and photographers that I've worked with, and a lot of them have started from it just being professional and genuine and transparent. Be easy to work with. I mentioned that you should ask questions and goals, state your goals for the press coverage, but also be sensitive and know that editors are the ones doing their job, and know the publication best, and know what the readers will respond to and like, and what will perform best, which in turn will be a benefit, huge asset to you. So avoid being put into, I guess, a high maintenance category. Don't make huge sweeping demands or insist that things be changed. Trust the editor's vision for the story or feature. And then also just stay in touch. Don't get published and then totally vanish. We want to keep you top of mind. There are a lot of designers reaching out to us, and if you're kind of keeping your online presence, interacting on social media, liking photos, commenting when you actually do genuinely like something, popping in now and then to say, are you working on any trend reports where I can offer a quote, that sort of thing. Just stay in touch, and we will be very grateful and excited for that, and more likely to reach out to you in the future. And so if we're now reaching the end, and if you're thinking, I don't have any projects to pitch, I don't have a home tour that's going to be finished anytime soon, there's still 3 things you can do today. Identify what your dream publication is. Really investigate some of the media outlets out there and figure out which audience will have your potential clients, which media source is going to be the greatest benefit to you to be published on, and then connect with that publication, whether it's following on it on Instagram, sending a note, sending a quick email saying, I don't have anything yet, but I'd love to work with you in the future and be kept in mind, etc. Also find the right email address and save it to your address book so that when you are ready to send a submission, you're ready to go. It's just right there, and you don't have to go digging on their website again. And also I would suggest networking with editors. If the publication is based where you live, find their event calendar, or reach out. Often publications will partner with local businesses to do store openings or holiday events, and add anything to your calendar so that you can connect face-to-face with that editor. Additionally, if you don't live anywhere where the publication is based, just reach out to their general email account and ask if they will be attending any of the upcoming markets like High Point or America's Mart or Las Vegas Market. Oftentimes they will, and the editor will be hosting or moderating a panel, or there will be an event at certain showrooms that you can connect with them face-to-face there. So 3 easy things that will kind of put you on the start. So thank you. That's all that I've got. Let me just exit out of here.
Perfect. Kelli, thank you so much. These are excellent tips. And I feel like everyone can really walk away today with certain action items to develop that wish list of editors, to collect their contact information, and to start putting those events on their calendar and, putting yourself out there to make those real life connections. So thank you for sharing this information with us. We have a ton of questions, so I'm just going to get right to it. Okay.
Great.
So, in your opinion, what's the best way to reach out to an editor to offer your design opinion or expertise or taste for tips and trend reports and gift guides and social media takeovers if you're not quite ready for a room tour or a home tour?
Yeah, I would say it's essentially like a cold call, but a cold email. Just again, keep it quick and to the point, but a quick email introducing yourself and exactly what you said. I don't have a full tour that I'm ready to submit, but here's a link to my website and my Instagram so you can get an idea for my aesthetic. And I'd love to be a source to your publication to contribute in the future if you're working on any trend exactly what you would like to offer.
Okay, great. So when you do receive those pitches from a designer about a designer offering their expertise or offering their recent project for a room tour or a home tour, other than the portfolio images that they provide you and the quality and the personal touch in their email, what else do you review specifically? Is it the quality of their website, how it's laid out? Is it the quality of their Instagram and their social media following? Like, what's your criteria other than their actual design talent for you to say, you know what, I am going to respond to this email, or I am going to move forward with exploring this idea with a specific designer?
For me, I mean, the gut reaction is a quick look. I would say at either their Instagram account or the portfolio link on their website. And it's just, does this vibe match ours? Is it going to resonate with our readers, or is it going to look a little off? And so, and by off, I don't mean bad design. I mean just out of character for our publication. So identifying, is this the right aesthetic match? And then but sometimes it's like totally kismet, and I'm like, I am working on something. Can you give me a quote in 2 hours? Other times, if it does feel like the right match by just looking straight at imagery, I have a running list of people to reach out to.
Okay, great.
So when I say, if I reply and say I'll bookmark you or I've saved your site, it's not a lie. It's an actual resource that we create.
Okay, and it's actually surprising, but there are a lot of designers out there who don't have a website or don't have an Instagram. So if you receive an incoming pitch from a designer and their photography and their portfolio is incredible and they don't have one of these two things, is that a red flag for you, or does that not matter to you?
I mean, it would be odd, but it wouldn't, if they have the imagery available, it would be okay, as long as I have an easy way to view it quickly.
Great.
But if there's not a spot to link to them in the story, that's not a problem for us. I would just say it's likely a problem for the designer because they'll be hard to contact.
Right.
So
okay, great. So other than reviewing incoming email pitches that you receive 100 times a day, how do you as an editor try to proactively discover new designers and stories for fresh content other than just reacting to incoming pitches that you get?
Yeah, for me, I would say through Instagram, and also we have a hashtag Home with Rue that we encourage our followers to share their spaces using, and we'll browse through that to kind of discover new talent or new to us talent there. So I really encourage that, and we found a lot of beautiful spaces where we've just stumbled across an image and said, this is amazing, this is exactly what we want, and reached out directly that way. So
great. These are such good tips and great questions. Okay, so your inbox must be crazy, right? what's a really good subject line that will capture your attention? Because, for the email example that you provided, for example, home tour, colon, and then the location and the name of the design firm, I feel like that could also very easily be mistaken for like an industry newsletter, right? From another publication or something like that. So what do you think is crucial to include in the subject line so that those emails will get opened?
I think just what it is. I think something that can be kind of a mistake or a downfall, at least for me individually. There might be editors tuning in that are like, you're totally wrong. But for me, I think if someone tries to do something cutesy or quirky, that will be overlooked as like a grab 'em marketing ploy subject line. And so including like what it is, or saying, including Rue in the subject, Rue exclusive. That is really helpful so that it's clear that this is being sent to you. This isn't a mass mailing. This isn't a copy paste pitch. I think that would be helpful. Or if there's like kitchen before and after for Rue or something like that.
So including your name, like the name of the publication in the subject line.
Yeah, I think that's helpful.
That's a great tip. Okay. Wow, we have such great questions here. Okay. Someone's asking, this is great. How far in advance should you submit seasonal content for pitches? So if you want to offer your expertise for a gift guide, when is a great time for an editor to receive this pitch?
It's obviously going to be much, much different for a print publication. That I would say, like holiday, you're reaching out in June or July. But for online media, we're quicker and we're doing a lot. So I would say 4 weeks is a good buffer. At least the way that we run our editorial calendar, about 4 weeks out would be appropriate. I know it's complicated because you're not necessarily wanting to decorate a tree before Thanksgiving or anything, but getting it ahead of time. And if that's something that you want to do, reach out to the editor first and kind of pitch your pitch and say, is this something you're interested in? What would the timeline be? How? Yeah.
That's great. Okay. Moving right along. So based on your experience, working with thousands of designers, how can a designer develop relationships with editors like you so that these pitches aren't like one-off projects? How do you continuously stay in touch with an editor without irritating you?
Yeah, it is a fine balance. I think it just comes down to being genuine. There's a few designers that come to mind that I featured a few years ago, and we followed each other on social media, and it's more of a natural interaction. They're not commenting on every post, and comments aren't just related to publish my work, do this for me. It develops a natural relationship over time. And then that way I've received emails from them and go, oh yeah, hi. I just saw that. I too just saw that thing on social media and would love to work with you. And so I think it comes down to being genuine and not phony. And it's hard to say how to do that naturally, I guess.
Okay. I love that.
Follow your instinct.
Yeah, just be yourself. Yeah. I think just being human is really key in this industry. Just being human in all of your relationships,
Yeah.
Okay. In your opinion, does a designer have a better chance of being published if the pitch is coming directly from their PR rep, like if they're working with a PR agency, or is it best to send the pitches yourself as a designer? Or what has been your experience working with both PR companies and designers, and like what are the pros and cons of kind of working with each party?
Yeah, I think it's mixed. Similar to saying that I've become friends with designers, I've become friends with publicists as well. And there are publicists that I know are just sending it to as many people as emails as they have. And there are publicists that are reaching out and saying, Rue exclusive, we're offering this straight to you. So I think that's mixed, because I have great relationships with both worlds. And I think it comes down to kind of following that same, being transparent and genuine in the pitch. But I wouldn't say one is better than the other. I like hearing from both. And I like a lot of the agencies in the design world.
Great. Okay, in your opinion, as a designer, when you're pitching an exclusive to a publication, what do you think is in the best interest of the designer? Let's say it's for a room tour or a home tour. Do you think it's best to reach out to those local home publications first, or the more regional and national publications?
I think that comes down to setting the expectations and goals that you have in mind first. And in my experience, we're not bothered if something has been published locally first, because we know that that's just a small chunk of our audience. And so if it's been published in a more local publication, we'll usually be okay with moving forward, or won't feel like we're stepping on anyone's toes or anything like that. And so it's best to just identify what you hope to get out of the feature first.
Okay, great. Okay, this is a good question. What kind of stories capture your attention other than just a pretty room or a pretty space?
Well, my background is in writing, and so I like to tell a story. For me, the story behind the space is just as important as what it looks like. And like nothing kind of dampens my soul more than being like, well, it was this, and they put this furniture in the end. Enjoy. Yeah. I like to know a bit about who lives there, or funny stories that happen during the process. There are a lot of people who are, I mean, it is the age of Instagram where people are just like scrolling and clicking, but there are people reading and connecting with those stories too. And so sharing those personal tidbits as well.
Great. Okay, we have time for just a few more. Let's see. Okay. In your opinion, are quality iPhone pictures acceptable to you, especially for the designers who are submitting those tight shots of work in progress photos before professional photos have been taken? Or do you think that even with those pre-professional shots and the pre-finished product shots, that the designer should provide photos that are more like have a higher quality?
I think iPhone photos are totally fine when it's just sharing kind of the inspiration or the vision or the initial gauging interest from the start. That's totally fine. We just need to be able to see and get a feel for the space.
Great. Okay, and so we've been talking a lot about Instagram, and it's a great channel to be discovered as a designer. Do you have a couple of Instagram feed tips that you can share with our audience today so they can keep that in mind and try to apply those tips to how they're posting their content on their Instagram feeds?
It's a great question that I think everyone is grappling with because with the algorithm or whatever it is, it makes it definitely complicated. I would say just, post regularly and don't let, especially with the algorithm, don't let low likes deter you from keeping your focus on that channel. So if you post a photo and it's kind of a dud, that's okay. Don't delete it. Don't get hung up on like, well, I don't think anyone saw it. I think also people are consuming stories more, and so channeling a little bit more focus into uploading stuff to stories. Especially, I mean, I personally love seeing designers do walkthrough of like everything's getting demoed today, or it's nice to see that kind of career side as well. And I would say just post often, and don't just put content out there, like consume it as well. So interact with people, comment and like, and create connections. It's not just a one-way feed of your stuff.
Great.
I hope those are tips.
Yeah, no, those are really helpful. I think again, it just comes down to being human and like showing your real personality in your feed is really important, and that's what gets you that high engagement.
Yeah.
Okay, and in terms of and this will be our last question, but in the spirit of making stronger relationships and connecting with editors on a regular basis, which markets and trade shows do you attend regularly, and what's the next market and trade show on your radar for this year or beginning of 2019?
America's Mart is coming up, and we love that. Atlanta's a great place to visit, and that market is it's incredible. And so we're heading there first in January, and working a lot with their Shop the Show. So there will be more to come on that. But that's a really vibrant, great market. Since I'm in Los Angeles, Las Vegas market is like a dream because it's so easy to get to. And I really love that market. And we'll be there in January as well, participating with their Best of the West panel. So those two, and then of course High Point as well. So it's like the three big ones, but we've been going for years, and it's nice for us as editors to not only kind of discover trends alongside designers, but connect with designers and connect with other people in the industry. It's like attending markets is really a valuable asset. I couldn't recommend it more for designers.
Yeah, we agree. We'll be heading to Las Vegas as well. So we look forward to seeing you there, and we hope everyone tuning in will go to Las Vegas market, because there's so much value in attending markets other than just sourcing product and meeting with vendors. Like you said, it's such a great opportunity to meet with other designers and people in the industry. Attend those events, put yourself out there. There's so many panels as well that you can learn things like how to make relationships with editors. So we really hope to see you at market. That's all the time we have today, Kelli. Thank you so much for your time and your generosity and these tips. We learned a lot from you today, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks to Ivy for helping us share all of this.
Thank you, Kelli. Speak soon. Bye.
Bye.
And for those of you who are still tuned in, and if you want to learn a little bit more about Ivy, I'm going to bring on my colleague, Risa, who is going to walk through what Ivy is all about. So let me just bring her on.
Good morning, everyone. How are you? That was awesome.
Good morning, Risa.
Thank you for having me here, Tara, and thank you to Kelli for sharing all of her awesome knowledge with us. We get asked those questions daily, not only in our Facebook group, but I get emails about that. So I think it's really helpful to hear from an editor, her perspective, and Kelli keeps it real. So every time you go and you have those pictures and you're excited to share them, wait to share them on social media and really be thoughtful about that email that you're crafting to Kelli, to any editor, so that your email elicits a response. And with that said, I'm going to share a little bit about Ivy with you all today. Ivy is a community and business management tool meant to help streamline your workflow so that you have time to write emails to Kelli and that you can really manage your business in one place efficiently. You don't have to be moving around in Excel, in QuickBooks, all of these different tools. And let me go ahead and share my screen with you so that you can see what I'm talking about. And for those of you that are tuning in, that are listening about Ivy, and you already have Ivy, if you want to get in touch with your dedicated account manager, go ahead. You can shoot support at ivy.co over an email. You can listen to me chat today, and we're just going to do a really quick run through. You can also go ahead and schedule your free one-on-one demo by clicking the green button below, and that will give you kind of a one-on-one insider sneak peek with an Ivy guru. And as Tara said, also please stay tuned and listen to all of our content webinars, which are amazing, but come to our events. We have a nice lineup planned for Vegas Market in January, great panel line about education. So not only do we want to help you run your business more efficiently, but we also want to help you learn marketing, social media, all of the other stuff that you have away from design. We want to help you do that in a nice, beautiful way. So from the get-go, one of the things that I hear designers talk about the most, that is the most time consuming, is tracking time. With Ivy, we have a timer built into our platform, which is also readily, easily available on your iPhone via our Ivy app, and you can select the project that you're working on, and then you can select the service that you're providing, and then you can go in and add the description of whatever you're doing, and you can let the timer run. Now, if you don't bill out hourly or you want to bill out fee-based, you can totally just mark this unbillable. You can log the hours this way and say, okay, I worked 3 hours. Ivy as a system is very flexible. It works the way you want it to work. And then I can go into my time and expense log, and I can bill out expenses. I can run and generate a time billing invoice. So it makes it really easy for you to generate an invoice and have this beautiful branded document to send to your client. And then when you send this out, you can also ask your client for online payment. So when I send it out to my client, I can preview what it looks like. I can give them the option to pay me by credit card or bank transfer. This means it makes your life a lot easier because the money just comes straight into your account rather than you having to, if you live in San Francisco like me, run to the bank, park. That takes time, and we know that time is definitely money. And we want to help you be as efficient as possible. So you can send this out to your client. You can allow them to pay by bank transfer or credit card, and then they would get this email from you. They would be able to pay you directly through the system. The money would hit your bank account, and you would be good to go. So that's a very nice feature that a lot of our designers take advantage of. Highly recommend it. And the other favorite feature for me is the Ivy Clipper. So if I go into a project that I want to create, I can't even tell you about the things I used to do. And I know a lot of designers have told me the things that they're doing in order to put together a board or the products that they want to specify, and they're doing double entry. With Ivy, we have the product clipper right over here. It just nests on your browser. It's an extension, and it allows you to clip the item directly from the vendor's website right here. So you can clip each of these items and drop it right into your Ivy account. And when I clip each one of these items, let me go into my proposal, you can see that this item clips, and it not only saves to the proposal, it also saves to your Ivy product library. So you're really building out your own library. We have one designer here in San Francisco that every time she sees a chair, she saves it to her library. So she has those items, and she knows whenever she needs to go specify a chair, she can her library and add that chair into the system. So it makes it really easy for you. If you think about the way that QuickBooks, for example, is laid out, it doesn't have the ability for you to put into a picture. With Ivy, you can add products. These are all products in my library, and here's the chair that I clipped, and I can just add that onto my to my proposal. I can add service items onto my proposal as well. It saves all of these items so you don't have to go back to them. It saves the link from where you clipped from. You have the ability to add individual markup per each line item. You can add a markup on shipping. And then my favorite part, you can always see what the total cost and total markup is before you send this out to your client. You can request a deposit in percentage or dollar amount. So there's a lot of flexibility that you have when building out your proposal. You can also group items together if it's a custom sofa and there's 10 different components of that sofa. You together as one line item here so that the client will just see it as one line item. But then when you go to generate your purchase order, your vendor would see all of the different components. You can also generate your own tear sheets here with pricing or without pricing. Again, just another step to save you time. And you can see right here, there's that chair that we specified. You can put in as much detail as you want. And I didn't save the pricing here, but you can if you want to. And this is what your client would see. Okay, and then you can download that and use it for your presentation. And then once my client approves it and sends me the money, then I can go ahead and create my purchase orders directly through the system. So again, it's one step to the next step to the next step. What I felt like in my workflow previously, is very disjointed. There was a lot of pieces, and if one person in the process forgot to send the purchase order to the vendor, then when it comes time for install day, we're missing a big piece of the project. So this will generate that purchase order for you and help you be able to send this directly to your vendor. Your vendor will love you because it's organized. Everything's all in one place. You can even plug in an estimated ship date. And when you do that, everything will fall onto your project management schedule as well. Okay, and this gives you all of the details right here of what's happening with this install, what's done, what hasn't been done, what needs to be done, and we'll give you kind of a running to-do list as well. And then we also give you your project tracker, which I used to manually create in Excel. So this definitely saves you a lot of time by not having to go to a separate system. It will save all of the information in one place in your Ivy account so that you can decide, how do I want to view this information? I can search by pricing details. I can see less information. I can see more information. I can see all of my accounting details, the scheduling details. I can add custom columns. And then the best part here is that you can download an or you can download it to Excel if you want to. Totally up to you how you want to view it. Ivy also allows you to input and transfer over your previous client list, your previous vendor list. If you want to bounce those lists out to Excel, you can do that too. It's a two-way import and export. Then you have your product library, as I was mentioning, where all of your products are saved and you can go back to where that item was clipped from. So again, really just managing everything in one place in a really efficient way. You can pull reports. And the best part is we're a community. We have a private Facebook group where designers are learning so much about how to run their business. Designers are sharing their contracts with each other. It's a true knowledge exchange. And we created our Ivy's curated network of service providers. So if you need help with design work and you don't have help, you can hire a virtual design assistant. If you need help with a 3D rendering, you can hire and you can outsource. One of the biggest tips I always give designers is think about outsourcing. You might not be able to bring somebody on full time, but you can always outsource. So if somebody's doing your drawings and it's $75 an hour and your hourly is $150 an hour, you're still making a margin there. It's just really thinking smarter about the way that you're managing your business. And as Tara said, we love hosting webinars on Wednesdays, really bringing you important, influential people in the industry, whether it's an editor, a CFO level bookkeeper, whether it's a vendor, you name it, we bring it to the table, a business coach. So please stay tuned for the rest of we still have Wednesday webinars going on for the rest of this year. I know everybody kind of closes down and we have a great lineup planned for January and February of next year at Las Vegas Market. Come see us. We have a panel we're sponsoring with Las Vegas Market on Sunday. I believe it's January 27th at 3 o'clock. So come see us and definitely stay tuned for more exciting things to come. And if you have any questions, you can go ahead and email us. I'll drop my email in. It's Reisa, REISA @iby.co. Happy to jump on a call with you, answer any questions. And we hope to talk to you soon. And have a great rest of your week. And we'll see you soon. Thank you. Bye.